Picture Hollywood version. Invincible pirate ships slicing through perfect seas, hulls magically immune to damage.
Ships always sound, winds always favorable, problems solved by looking heroic and shouting orders.
Brutal reality would have killed movie pirates within hours, hundreds of miles from any harbor. Surrounded by endless ocean, single shattered spar or sprung plank could mean slow drowning.
No rescue ships, no coast guard, no convenient island with repair dock over horizon.
When disaster struck regularly, crew had minutes transforming raw terror into organized procedure before drowning. Heave to. Echoed across deck as ship brought into position, reducing stress on components. Pump crews manned stations with urgency of soldiers under fire. Officers conducted damage surveys.
By flickering lantern light, probing with lead lines, assessing how badly floating world wounded. On wooden island surrounded by hostile water, survival began with calm hands and thinking.
Despite conditions that would panic landlubbers into fatal mistakes, carpenter's hammer became more important
than captain's sword, and properly driven oakum wedge worth more than chest of gold. But sea doesn't wait for repairs, while crews assess damage and organized responses.
Waves kept pounding, wind kept pushing, water kept seeking every crack and gap, turning small problems into fatal disasters with ruthless efficiency. Clock was always ticking relentlessly. Before any repairs could begin, smart pirates had to stop making damage worse completely. Crucial first step separating crews who survived from crews who drowned while frantically fixing.
Captain's first order always, storm canvas only, reducing sail to absolute minimum needed for steerage.
Taking pressure off damaged rigging and hull components. Ship's bow pointed toward swell. Positioning vessel to ride waves instead of fighting them, reducing violent motion completely.
That could turn small cracks into catastrophic failures. Weight got shifted low and central.
To improve stability and reduce stress on damaged areas. Guns were double lashed, preventing breakage.
From breaking loose and smashing through weakened bulkheads. Cargo repositioned to balance ship. Minimized twisting forces that could tear apart compromised structural joints holding everything together. Boatswain cleared decks of unnecessary equipment and personnel, creating open working spaces for crews.
Quartermaster secured all stores and supplies, ensuring essential materials would remain accessible always. Ship's carpenter began critical damage assessment, moving through vessel with chalk and measuring tools.
Marking weepers, leaks not yet dangerous but needing monitoring, and identifying serious threats by sound.
Of rushing water and feel of loose or damaged planking under experienced hands. Every decision focused on stabilization first, actual repairs second, because attempting complex fixes
on unstable platform in heavy seas could make problems worse instead of better.
When your ship is taking water hundreds of miles from nearest land, no luxury
Of hauling out for professional repairs. You have to plug the ocean itself.
Using whatever materials and techniques can buy enough time to reach safety or completion. For smaller leaks in hull seams, pirates drove oakum, tarred rope fibers, deep into gaps.
Using specialized tools called caulking irons and wooden mallets. Softwood wedges followed the oakum,
Expanding when wet to create tight seals. Whole mess got smeared with tallow. Pitch or any other waterproofing material that could slow steady hiss of incoming water.
Bigger holes required more dramatic solutions. Pirates would father a sail, spreading canvas sheet with oakum, animal dung, and fat, then hauling it under ship's hull completely. So water pressure would suck improvised patch into hole from outside. Messy, desperate work. Required men working in freezing water while ship rolled unpredictably, but could seal gaps. When multiple seams started weeping simultaneously, indicating the ship's hull was working loose under stress. Pirates wrapped entire vessel with frapping cables, heavy ropes cinched around hull like giant bandages.
To clamp timbers together and prevent structure from coming apart completely under pressure.
Techniques were crude but effective. Steady hiss of incoming water would soften to manageable trickle. Once immediate flooding was controlled, real test began, keeping ahead of water continuing seeping. Through temporary patches and stressed hull seams. This meant operating the ship's pumps continuously, creating human-powered system that had to function perfectly for days or weeks without failure. Pirates used two main types of pumps, each with its own advantages and challenges.
Chain pumps used endless loop of leather discs carrying water up from bilge.
In continuous stream, requiring steady, rhythmic motion from operators. Brake pumps used seesaw handles that lifted water in measured strokes, demanding explosive effort, but allowing brief rests. Pump crews worked in short relays, with men rotating every few minutes, preventing exhaustion. That could slow system and allow water levels to rise dangerously. Work was backbreaking.
Monotonous and absolutely critical. Failure in pump rotation could mean death for everyone aboard.
Ship's shantyman became crucial figure during pump operations, setting musical beats, keeping operators synchronized.
Songs weren't entertainment. They were precision timing systems, ensuring maximum efficiency from tired men.
Working in difficult conditions. Good chanty could increase pump output by 20%.
Cook marched regular rounds with cups of warm grog, providing calories and liquid warmth.
To men whose hands were going numb from handling cold, wet pump handles.
Ship's masts and yards were called the forest by sailors, and when storm damaged. This critical rigging, pirates had to become emergency lumberjacks and carpenters, rebuilding propulsion.
Using whatever materials they could improvise from spare parts and creative engineering solutions.
Sprung topmast or shattered yard didn't necessarily end voyage if crew could fish, spar. Essentially creating splint using wooden reinforcements called fish pieces bolted alongside broken area completely. Bound with iron bands and rope lashings. Additional preventer stays, extra support lines were rigged to share structural loads and prevent repair from failing under stress during operations. When mast was completely lost, pirates had to step jury mast, erecting replacement using spares, booms, or any other suitable timber available on ship. Emergency masts were shorter
and weaker than originals, with guys and shrouds led to lower attachment points.
Reducing leverage forces. Small storm sail provided minimal but crucial steerage capability for navigation. Process required precise engineering with primitive tools. Pirates had to calculate load distributions, wind forces, and structural limitations while working on rolling deck with unsuitable equipment. Below decks in ship's orlop,
Sailmaker transformed workspace into emergency surgical theater completely, where torn canvas received same urgent attention that battlefield surgeon would give wounded soldiers.
Because damaged sails meant lost propulsion and potentially fatal helplessness in hostile conditions.
Sailmaker's tools were precision instruments designed for heavy-duty textile repair, curved needles penetrating layers,
Leather palms protecting hands while driving needles through resistant material, and specialized thread that could withstand enormous forces generated by wind-filled sails under maximum stress conditions. Patches were cut on bias, diagonally across fabric grain, to distribute stress loads evenly. Prevent new tears from developing around repair edges. Multiple rows of double stitching created redundancy that could handle partial failures without losing entire patch. Torn bolt ropes, heavy lines sewn around sail edges required expert splicing and seizing techniques, restoring structural integrity completely. When storm or combat damaged rudder system, ship's primary steering mechanism, pirates employed increasingly creative solutions to maintain directional control, because a vessel that couldn't steer was essentially a floating log.
At mercy of wind, waves, and current, damaged gudgeon pin, or lost rudder blade.
Forced crews to rig emergency steering systems from whatever materials were available on ship.
They could construct jury rudder from spare spars and deck gratings, hanging improvised surface
On chains and operating with block and tackle systems, multiplying human strength enough to move.
makeshift rudder against water pressure. Streaming drogue or sea anchor astern provided stability.
By creating drag that kept ship's stern pointed downwind, preventing dangerous broaching.
Advanced practitioners could steer using sail trim alone, backing headsail to push bow,
while easing mainsail to reduce pressure, creating turning forces changing course without rudder.
When grounding or approaching dangerous lee shore threatened to destroy ship against rocks.
Pirates employed specialized techniques for moving vessel, using pure human effort and mechanical advantage.
Essentially pulling themselves to safety when wind and current were working against them.
Kedge anchor system was their primary escape tool. Ship's boats would carry heavy anchor as far ahead as possible, sometimes miles from grounded vessel, and drop in deeper water. Ship's capstan would then be used to warp vessel forward, using anchor as fixed.
Point and gradually winching ship towards safety through mechanical advantage, multiplying human muscle power.
Cargo redistribution could change ship's trim and lift sections of hull off bottom completely. Moving weight aft raised bow, while shifting cargo to one side could heal vessel.
Even after escaping immediate dangers, ship that had been damaged, grounded, or sailing months
without maintenance would be slowed by marine growth and hull damage, reducing speed. And efficiency, when every knot of velocity could mean difference between safety and disaster. Without access to dry dock, pirates had to clean their ship's bottom while afloat.
Men in small boats would scrub hull with brooms and scrapers while ship healed.
Over undershifted ballast, exposing as much underwater surface as possible for cleaning.
Work was dangerous, cold, and exhausting, but could improve sailing speed by 20%.
Divers equipped with knives lashed to poles cut away seaweed, barnacles, and rope that had fouled hull during grounding or extended sailing. underwater work was extremely hazardous.
When ship repairs meant difference between life and death for everyone aboard, success depended on
On rigid organization, clearly defined responsibilities, and absolute discipline preventing chaos from destroying ability.
to work together under extreme pressure. Ship's carpenter owned hull and pump systems.
With authority over all structural repairs and water management operations. His word was law. When assessing damage, prioritizing repairs, and allocating materials for emergency fixes. Sailmaker controlled canvas. Cooper kept water and food casks tight and functional, ensuring repair time didn't become starvation. When crews needed maximum calories and hydration for demanding physical labor under pressure. Boatswain maintained running rigging connecting all systems together, while quartermaster enforced clear gangways. Close calls tested every system and role relationship. Picture this: midnight, rough seas.
Critical hull patch suddenly blows out under pressure, sending torrents of water faster
than pumps could handle. Emergency drill kicks in immediately. New fathering sail prepared and deployed. Wrapping cables tightened around hull. Pump crews doubled with fresh hands. Leak slowly controlled.
Through coordinated effort, requiring every specialist to perform perfectly under deadly pressure without hesitation.
Order beat panic because everyone knew their role and trusted shipmates to perform functions. Individual heroics couldn't save ship. Only systematic teamwork, treating emergency repairs like military operations.
When dawn revealed horizon they had chosen, instead of one forced by conditions, crew knew they had earned another day of survival through skill, organization, mutual dependence.
Essential truth separating surviving pirates from dead ones. Didn't survive because ships were unbreakable.
They survived because their repair systems were unbreakable, tested and refined through countless emergencies.
That taught them exactly what worked when everything else failed under pressure. Stabilize damage to prevent small problems from becoming fatal disasters. Stop leaks using whatever
Materials and techniques could buy precious time for more permanent solutions under any conditions.
Keep water moving out of ship faster than coming in, no matter how long. That required, or how many men had to work pumps in rotating shifts. Rebuild forest of masts and rigging, using improvised materials and creative engineering trading elegance.
For functionality. Steer by any means available. Jury rudders, drag anchors, sail trim. Or brute force rowing, because ship that couldn't change course was already dead.
Clean what creates drag and patch what lets in water, because speed mattered.
And watertight integrity were more valuable than comfort when survival measured in hours.
Trust crew members who knew their tools and roles, because individual expertise meant nothing
Without coordinated group effort, far from any port, surrounded by endless ocean showing mercy. To ships that couldn't heal themselves, smartest weapon wasn't cannon or cutlass completely.
It was sailmaker's needle, carpenter's wedge, boatswain's line, and detailed plan practiced until perfect.
Pirates mastered art of self-repair, not through superior materials or advanced technology available,
but through superior systems, turning desperate emergencies into manageable problems with known solutions. Their wooden ships sailed home not because they were invulnerable, but because crews
were unbreakable, bound by shared knowledge, mutual dependence, and hard-won understanding that survival